Am I the asshole for telling my brother I was his best man, that his toxic but love of his life ex was trying to get in touch with him the night before his wedding? Sorry, I suck at writing. Please to forgive in advance. My brother starting dating Big Shirl when he was in 6th grade. He's 25 now. To show how long this has been going on. To say that he and Big Shirl were toxic together is an understatement. They have well over a decade of torturing the fuck out of each other. To say they have broken up and gotten back together well over 1,000 times is another understatement. My entire family would go through the roller coaster ride with him, and we'd always see him date a really nice girl. Then Big Shirl would get in touch with promises of porno sex, and he'd dump the nice girl and be right back into the Big Shirl's arms. It has been about 2 years since their last breakup, and he met a girl named Carly who is literally a peach. We all love everything about her. My brother finally went no contact with Big Shirl at the time he met Carly and has had 2 years of relationship bliss. They got married on Saturday. My brother says he blocked Big Shirl on everything, and I am inclined to believe him since it's been 2 years since her stench has darkened our doors. We had a very low-key bachelor party on Friday in that we played poker and smoked cigars. At about 11:30 Big Shirl texted me and asked if the wedding was really taking place. I said yes and to not bother him. She said to please let him know her heart was breaking, but she'd be his personal bachelor party if he was so inclined. I didn't say anything to my brother that night, but on the way from the ceremony to the reception I made a joke about Big Shirl contacting me, and you could see the blood drain from his face. All he said was thanks. Well, later in the evening Carly caught my brother in the kitchen of the reception place on the phone with Big Shirl. They had a huge fight, and while they tried to put on a good face for the rest of the reception, it was cold as ice for the rest of the night. My brother came over now and said that I ruined his life by telling me that Big Shirl had gotten in touch with me. I guess he and Carly have been fighting non-stop since Saturday, and there is talk of canceling the honeymoon. My brother totally blames me and says I should have known better. Was I the asshole for telling him that Big Shirl was trying to get in touch with him? Not the asshole. Carly deserves better than marrying a guy who is so hung up on his toxic ex that he calls her from the reception hall. I do have to wonder what the endgame for Original Poster was in telling his brother, though. And why Original Poster hadn't blocked Shirl's number, when he had no reason to stay in contact with her either, and had no reason to want her in his brother's life. The brother definitely needs to get himself together, and I hurt for Carly, but there's some missing pieces in the story Original Poster is telling. It almost feels like sabotage, and it turns it into everyone sucks here for me. I think he was laughing about this ridiculous situation and expecting his brother would laugh too and be glad he married someone so much better, instead of running from his own wedding reception to call his ex he's clearly not over. Nah. Original Poster listed out exactly the type of person his brother is, would dump a nice girl for that toxic relationship, and knew exactly what type of relationship those two had, but he chose a high emotional moment to mention an ex his brother believes is the love of his life? Imagine for a second we were talking about drugs. Original Poster's bro has been clean for 2 years after going cold turkey, was finally in a place where he was taking the next step in his life, and right before Original Poster's bro was going to start his first day of work at a job that drug tests, his brother informs him that his dealer was trying to get in touch with him the night before? Should Original Poster be blamed for his brother falling off the wagon? Debatable. But without a doubt Original Poster would be the asshole in that situation, and this situation is no different because even Original Poster characterizes his brother's relationship with Big Shirl as a toxic and addictive one. Wonderfully put. Original Poster's actions seem at best careless and at worst malicious. Or, Original Poster is a normal person that assumes when you block someone for years and marry someone else that you are actually over your ex and can joke about the crazy lady trying to proposition you before the wedding. Seriously. His brother's reaction was calling his ex from the reception hall. Normal people don't think that's going to be the response because most people know that's freaking bonkers. This is on the brother. That's an extreme reaction by any standards. Not the asshole. If mentioning someone's name causes this reaction, he has no business getting married. You are showing Carly who he is early so she can hopefully run. But then it would have been better to tell his brother immediately, the night before the wedding, so that he could have run to his ex before Poor signed the papers the next day. Edit. Poor Cotty. Everyone sucks here. You don't bring up exes on a wedding day, point blank. You could have mentioned it after, but saying it midday of the wedding day was shitty. That being said, your brother also clearly sucks if the mere mention of his ex being a possible option is enough to destroy the entire wedding day and put his, what was supposed to be lifelong, relationship into jeopardy. It makes you question how over his ex he was. Carly deserves better. I totally agree. Everyone sucks here except poor Carly. Original poster. Your brother fought to break free of a drug he was addicted to for more than half his life. You held it up in front of him at the worst possible time. And you were the best man, even? What a horrible thing to do. Not the asshole, but I guess I don't understand what logic you were following by deciding to tell him on his wedding day. I mean, you know their toxic history and that your brother apparently has zero self-control when it comes to his ex. You said you really liked Carly and was glad X is out of your brother's life. Your brother blocked her so she could only reach out to him through you, and you decided his wedding day was a good day to bring it up? Your brother is to blame here, of course. Dude has zero impulse control with anything Big Cheryl related. He honestly sounds like he needs help letting her go. But you must have known bringing his ex up would not end well, even if he didn't end up calling her, but you did it anyway on his wedding day. If the brother honestly has that little self-control, he shouldn't be getting married. After reading the comments, I think that original poster is a little bit of a ta, not for telling his brother about Big Cheryl for contacting him, but when he did it. He should have told him at the bachelor party BCUZ. Clearly he's fixated on Big Cheryl, and that would have saved a lot of time and heartbreak. BCUZ, like you said, if he could lose control like this, then that's not the brother's problem. No, he should have never said anything about Cheryl contacting him. Should have just deleted the text, DM, or whatever. He and the brother the assholes. He's a little bit of an asshole for bringing it up, period. His brother is a huge asshole for ruining 2 years of bliss for acting on something he's done well not acting on. At the end of the day, the guy getting married ruined his own life and is trying to put it off on his brother. Which is why he's still in trouble with his fiancée, wife, I imagine. In her mind, she's going to be looking at it like it was not a matter of if, but when he would try to go back with his toxic ex. He husband's brother probably just saved her some time. Not enough information. Why the fuck are you answering texts from Big Cheryl? Doing that makes your brother going no contact a lot less effective. Sure, she can't get attention from him directly, but she can still get information about him from you. Exactly. I had blocked my toxic ex after my breakup and I wasn't fully over him when my friend told me he texted her. I went into a spiral after that. I know she didn't mean any harm by it, but when someone breaks up and blocks their ex as their friend, it's more helpful if you block them too. Everyone sucks here. You should have told Cheryl to fuck off. Your brother is a complete idiot, but really in some crazy codependent relationship. This is a good moment for his brother, you, to tell him to snap out of it, that Carly is awesome, he's finally getting his shit together, and he needs to stop acting like an idiot, apologize to Carly, and never think about or talk to Cheryl again. No, he should have blocked Cheryl on everything a long time ago. This is an any attention is good attention situation. Everyone sucks here. You knew he had an addiction problem and you just had to open your mouth about the drug. He could have stayed in that ignorance bliss, but you just had to ruin it. He should have been an adult and kept the drug out of his new marriage. Both of you really suck. Yeah, I read it like an alcoholic being told that someone had called to offer him a drink, and on a very stressful, life-changing day like your wedding day when you kind of feel like a drink might help. Bride was rightly pissed to find her groom trying to get wasted. An original poster as kind of a jerk for bringing alcohol to mind to someone who struggles to forget it exists at all. Brother has a problem that he's trying to deal with and, it seems, somewhat effectively, cutting off contact, moving on to healthier relationships, and original poster should have cut off contact, too, or at least avoid mentioning that alcohol is a thing he can have when he finds it so compulsively irresistible. But brother needs a dedicated support system like a therapist, cause I don't think there's AA for toxic relationships you can't quit. He'll also need a marriage counselor on top of a personal therapist if he wants any hope of salvaging his relationship, if it can be. I am sure it's difficult to be married to an actual alcoholic whom you know that while in its grip of addiction loves alcohol more than you, but I'm sure it hurts more when their addiction is an actual whole other woman. I bet it's much harder not to take it personally then, so it would be very difficult to work through. If hearing about his ex reaching out is enough to make him fold, he clearly is not ready to be getting married, at all. Like, you would think if he's getting fucking married he wouldn't still have a thing for his ex, naive of original poster to think so giving the bros history, but still. Comparing it to alcohol just sounds like an excuse to me. Babe, I couldn't control myself, I'm just so addicted to her, and my stupid brother mentioned her briefly. Additionally, the whole point of being sober is learning how to cope without resorting to the addiction. Like, that's the point. People here act as though alcoholics and addicts are just trying to pretend the thing they're addicted doesn't exist or avoid it altogether, or else they go back to the addiction, wherein for an alcoholic or some addicts they know they can't avoid being near it. So they learn to cope. They learn healthy ways to deal with things. I have sober alcoholics in my family who come to parties with alcohol. They don't drink. That's it. If someone offers them something, they say no. Original poster would have reasonable logic to assume that this man had learned how to say no. If even mentioning his ex was being sad and desperate is enough to send him off the deep end, then that is wholly the brother's problem, not necessarily Ops. Was it maybe a social faux pas to bring it up on the wedding? Sure, but it's not Ops' responsibility to control his idiot brother's behavior for him, and like you said, if the mere mention of it makes him fold that fucking quickly, then he was always gonna fold. What Ops' idiot brother needs is some goddamn therapy to unpack his toxic codependency, and that's not on original poster. Not the asshole. You are the asshole, but your brother is in no place to being marrying Carly when he's still so emotionally hung up on his ex. Yeah, damn. As his brother you should be helping him, not hurting him. You already know what was likely going to happen, so why did you do it? Question mark. You are the asshole. Toxic exes will fuck everything up. And the wedding is such a difficult time emotionally, any imbalance can throw the whole thing. Best man's job is to step on the landmines, not over them. Nah, fuck that. If a phone call is all you need to flip out and contact your ex on your wedding day, you aren't ready to be married. Original poster just did the wife a huge favor. I know I wouldn't want to be married to someone who was still that stuck on his ex. Edit. Not the asshole. Big Shirl made me laugh. Anyway, I think everyone sucks here. Even if your brother were over Big Shirl, bringing her up, let alone on his wedding day, is likely going to trigger some past trauma and upset him. If they're getting married, surely you'd assume he's past it and not even mention it to him? Or at least wait until after the wedding. Carly should run though. The fact that this mere mention stirred up such a response is concerning and a sign your brother should not be getting married anytime soon. Maybe you've inadvertently done Carly a favor by bringing this to light. It wasn't a mere mention of Big Shirl. The feckless groom was on the phone with her as soon as original poster mentioned the contact. Run, Carly, run. I think I meant to say, if a mere mention stirred this response from his brother. I agree. I may have misread. I thought you were blaming Carly for the fight. In any case, I stand by my run Karli, run, edited for autocorrect. Not the asshole. I personally wouldn't have told him, especially if this person was as toxic as you believed. If they had tried to message me, then I would have also blocked them and never mentioned it given the history. But it's on him that he had the audacity to contact her on his wedding day, and I really feel for Carly here. Big Shirl certainly sounds like a piece of work who knows she has your brother wrapped around her little finger. Everyone sucks here except poor Carly. I hope she can get an annulment. Annulment was the first thing I thought of too. No honeymoon, go directly to see a lawyer. Everyone sucks here. You shouldn't have raised it, but your brother shouldn't have gotten married if he's still so clearly hung up on her. Not the asshole. He's in charge of his own actions. He's the one that decided to call her back. He's the one that can't own up to his own mistakes and work on himself. Everyone sucks here. It's not your fault he took the bait. You didn't force him to, but, dude, why in the bad place did you mention it? Agreed, it was a forking terrible thing to do. Torn some, but everyone sucks here. You know they have a toxic relationship and they bring out the worst in each other. Her offer of being his personal bachelor party? Your brother sucks because he's a grown man who decided to contact his ex and risk his now marriage for that woman. He's a fool for unblocking her to talk to her. Just because you told him about it doesn't mean he had to go calling her at his reception. And how tacky for his ex to text you and offer to be his personal bachelor party. His new wife deserves better. Everyone sucks here. Why on earth would you tell him? It's not funny, it's toxic. He blocked her to not deal with that. Why hand deliver it? To him, he blocked her on everything and he's on the cusp of bliss. He needed to let it go. Not the asshole. Your brother is blaming you for his own actions, so there's nothing for you to feel bad about. Sounds like he isn't ready for this kind of commitment in his life if his ex has this much control over him. Hope Carly finds every bit of happiness and love she deserves. Not enough information. Why is he arguing with Carly? What are they arguing about? Is he getting cold feet, the fact he called? What did he say on that call? I would imagine because he was calling his toxic ex of years from the reception of their wedding? I'd say that would upset most people. Who cares what he said? It's a ridiculous thing to do on your wedding day.